Okay, let's give you a tour of my campsite here, Site 28 on the island in Rock Pond in the William C. Whitney Wilderness Area. So the landing is on the back side of the island, and it's a rock landing, which is not that easy, but there is a kind of sandy, gravelly area over there where you can pull in the canoe and unload. So it's really not bad. It's a pretty good landing, actually, considering how rocky the shore of this pond is. And it's really about in the middle of the pond, and you can see you got even a nice view even from the landing. There's campsites on either shore from it. There's one over there that's campsite 27, I believe. It has a cliff that you can sit up on. There's a fire ring up there, and you get a nice view west of the pond. And then show you this is where you can, there's an open area here where you can put your boat. You can see there's room for a couple of canoes here, which is good. So I've got mine pulled up there. And then there's trails all over the island, but it's really a nice site. There's big white pines, some cedar, and so plenty of other trees here. So then there's a little path here that takes you up to the campsite. So you got to carry everything up, which is fine because this really is a nice campsite, so it's worth carrying everything up. So it took me a couple of trips to get my things up, but that's okay. There's some big boulders around here, glacial erratics they're called. And so you come up to the top here, and the campsite is right at the top, at the highest point on the island. So you can see there's a great big fire ring over here, which is really nice. So that's all together. And then there's this bench that was made. I don't know who made that, but there's some flattened out areas, so you can actually sit there if you don't have a chair with you and watch the fire right from there. Got it. This is my kitchen area. I set it up here. So this is the kitchen area. And you have a nice view west from here. And then I put up the tarp, doing laundry. Put up the tarp over here. In case it rains, there is a forecast for showers, so it's possible. And I also this morning put up the bug net because last night there was no breeze, and right as the sun went down, the mosquitoes were really intense. And that was really the first time on this trip I've had an issue with the bugs, other than some deer flies. So I had to retreat into the hammock because it was ridiculous. So I set this up in case it happens again. And then I just, once I'm inside, I just stake down those corners, and that basically keeps the bugs out of there. So over here is where it's my water station. So this is where I bring water up from the lake, and then filter it through a platypus gravity system, and I can filter 6 liters at a time. One bag of 4 liters and another bag of 2 liters. So once I exhaust the water that I bring in with me, this is the way I get water for drinking and cooking. So if we come down here, now there really weren't good trees here the right distance apart from my hammock, so I had to relocate the hammock down below here. So you walk down here. My little washing station here, which I freshened myself up last night after I got everything set up. And here's the hammock set up. So I've got it in porch mode. So these trees are really the right distance apart, and you know, there's plenty of room here, so I put the tent footprint down so that I'm not having an adverse impact on the floor around where I camp. And so these trees are the right distance apart, so I get a really good hang and I sleep really well. And then you can see in the back there's a sign for the toilet. So if we just walk down, I think those are kestrels. They get upset whenever anyone's walking around in the area. There must be a nest up there. So I try not to come down here unless I have to. So you walk down here on the other side of the island, and there's the toilet. Typical Adirondack thunderbox. Everything's in good shape. The lid opens and closes, so this is fine. And it's a really nice campsite. And then I'll show you, I'm going down to the western point of the island, and I'll show you that. But look at the size of the trees that we have here. Some big white pines. And of course there's smaller ones too. But it's nicely treed. It's all pine needle ground cover, which is great. So I'm really pleased with this. Since I visited it, I wanted to camp here, and I was fortunate enough, being a little patient, waiting and getting this site. So at least 3 nights here. Today's Monday. I'm figuring Wednesday maybe I leave. And the weather seems to indicate that's a good day to do it. And then I'll spend a couple more nights on Little Tupper. Okay, so now let's take you down to the west end of the island. That's where I'm going to spend the day reading and getting prepared to do the invasive species survey probably tomorrow. So crossed the bay here, and then went up the outlet, past site 23, past site 24, and then after site 24 there was a beaver dam, so I had to carry over that and basically get out of the boat, stand on the beaver dam and pull the boat over. And then I continued up, and where it crosses this old roadway here, that's all rocky, and it's you can't pass through the culvert. So there's a carry trail here. So you take out and you carry around the road and then launch on the other side of the road. So I did that, and then continued up towards Rock Pond. And there were a couple more beaver dams up there. They were lower, but I still had to get out and pull the boat over. I couldn't paddle through them. And then I got up here, and my goal was site 28, the island site. So And I was told by somebody else that I met coming out that it was free. So I went around here, I checked out Site 30, and then I went over to 28 and there was somebody there. And I had a conversation with them and they told me that they were leaving in about 2 hours. So rather than camp at one of the other sites, I decided I would just have lunch and then paddle around a little bit, because 2 hours, that goes pretty fast. So I went over to Site 29 and checked that out. That's got a nice little sandy beach there. The site itself is not great, but the beach is really nice. And then I did a perimeter paddle around here, checked out 27, and by the time I got over there it was over 2 hours and they were still there. So I hung out on 27. Now 27 has a poor landing. It's like muddy and it's not easy to land. The site is up on top of a hill, and there's a big rock cliff there with a great view this way, which I think is west, across the pond. And there's a fire pit up there. So you could have a fire up there and kind of watch the sunset. Pretty nice. And then the actual camping spot is back in the woods a little bit, which is okay. There's room for one tent, and there's trees for hammock. So I hung out there for a while. I didn't see them starting to move, so I decided, well, I better check out 26 and see, in case they're actually not going, which site I was going to take. I mean, I was leaning towards 29, but I wanted to see 26. So I started paddling over towards 26, and I was about halfway out, and I saw them come down and start moving their canoes. So then I knew they were actually going to go. And this was now 3.5 hours later. So rather than go over the 26, I just paddled around the backside of 28. And then by that time they were loading their canoes, and I had a conversation with them, and then landed at the site and when they left. And I'm planning on spending, I don't know, maybe 3 nights here, and then heading back to Little Tupper, and hopefully be able to camp for a couple nights on Site 12, or if not Site 12, Site 11. Okay, so that's it so far.